All right, so you want to know what skills you absolutely need for the next decade. We've got a ton of stuff to go through this time. Articles, research, even a whole YouTube video.
Yeah, it's a lot. And from what I see, the most important thing is that everyone agrees that you got to be adaptable and resourceful and just keep learning new stuff, you know?
I mean, yeah, that makes sense, but that's pretty broad. How do we break that down into like actual skills to focus on?
Well, I think the best place to start is with this idea of the skills gap that keeps coming up.
Oh yeah, that scary stuff. What was it like? Half of all employees need to reskill by 2025.
The World Economic Forum says it's half, yeah, by 2025.
Crazy. And it's not just a personal problem, right? Like there are big economic consequences too.
Absolutely. I mean, the report says 14 G20 countries, 14, could miss out on almost $12 trillion.
12 trillion with a T. That's insane.
Yeah, 11.5 trillion in GDP growth.
So this is because technology is changing so fast.
Yeah, tech is changing, jobs are changing, and a lot of people just aren't keeping up.
Makes you wonder, what should people be learning?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. One of our sources, this guy Devin Erickson, he's a retired software engineer, by the way, and a sci-fi author.
Wow, that's an interesting combo.
Yeah, well, he says it's not about learning any specific skill.
So he disagrees with like Yuval Noah Harari, who says nobody knows what to learn.
Yeah, he basically says Harari is wrong. Erickson says you need to learn agency.
Agency. So like being in charge of your own skills or something.
Exactly. It means you're able to learn anything and adapt fast. Be the captain of your own ship.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that?
Well, Erickson says you need to master the 7 liberal arts.
The what? Like ancient Greece stuff? Philosophy?
Yeah, he says they are the foundation for agency.
Okay, but like how does knowing about rhetoric help me in the modern world?
Well, think about it. Logic helps you reason, statistics helps you with data, and rhetoric, that's how you communicate persuasively.
Okay, I see. So they're more like thinking tools, not
Yeah.
just like memorizing facts and figures. I'm starting to get it. But I mean, we still need to learn about AI and data analysis and all that too, right?
Yeah.
It's like the future of everything.
Absolutely. Those are critical too. Both sources actually agree on that.
But just knowing about AI isn't enough, is it?
No, that's the thing. You got to be able to use that knowledge creatively and ethically.
Like not just coding a robot, but thinking about how that robot affects society.
Yes. You got to think about the bigger picture. One of the sources even talked about using gamification to make learning those problem-solving skills more fun.
Oh, like turning it into a game.
Yeah.
That's cool. But no matter how good you are at tech stuff, you still need to be able to, work with people.
Oh, absolutely. Communication, collaboration, emotional intelligence, those are non-negotiables.
So it's like a balance, right? Tech skills and people skills.
Exactly.
And this brings us to the surprising skills for the future.
Right. And one that really stood out to me was all the operations stuff, like project management and supply chains.
I can see how those would be important in like a really fast-paced world.
Yeah.
What else was there?
Financial literacy was a big one.
Yeah.
And not just like balancing your checkbook, but, understanding money on a larger scale. It even mentioned converting products into services.
Okay, now that's interesting.
Right. And then there was this idea of converting skills into products or services.
Whoa, we're going to have to unpack that one later.
Definitely.
But before we do, let's talk about the YouTube video for a minute. Top 10 technologies to learn or something like that.
Yeah. Top 10 technologies to learn in 2024.
I'm always a little skeptical of those kinds of lists, but it can be fun to see what's buzzing, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always got to take those salary predictions with a grain of salt.
Definitely. So what was number one? What's everyone freaking out about?
No surprise, it's AI.
Of course.
They had it as number one with applications in everything from chatbots to, self-driving cars, even medical diagnoses.
It's everywhere.
It is. And that's why it's so important to be AI literate, as they say. Understand how to use it, but also its impact on society ethically,
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground here. So what's the bottom line for all of this?
I think the main takeaway is that the future isn't about predicting specific jobs. It's about building a skill set that can adapt to anything.
So that agency thing we were talking about.
Exactly. Become a master learner. Be ready for anything.
I like that. It's kind of empowering.
It is.
So those liberal arts, tech skills, but with an ethical lens, and always be learning, right? That's a lot, but it's also pretty exciting.
It is. But how do we actually put all this into practice?
Well, Well, it's all about taking action, and like we were saying, those 7 liberal arts, those aren't just some old ideas. They can actually help you learn better.
So we should really be studying philosophy and stuff.
I mean, think about it this way. The more you understand how your mind works, how to analyze information, how to be persuasive, the better you'll be at, like, anything, really, any new field, any challenge. So it's more about, like, building a foundation for learning. Okay, I'm starting to see it. But what about all that tech stuff? Where do we even start with all that?
Just start with whatever interests you. What are you curious about? AI, blockchain, cybersecurity? Just pick one thing and dive in.
But what if I pick the wrong thing? Like, what if I spend all this time learning something and then it's totally useless in a couple of years?
That's where that whole agency thing comes in. It's not about picking one specific technology. It's about, building the skills to adapt no matter what.
So even if one tech thing fades away, the skills I learned while I was learning it, those are still valuable.
Exactly. Take programming, for example. Like maybe the programming language you learn today isn't popular 10 years from now, but you still learn how to solve problems, how to think logically. Those are the skills that matter.
I guess that makes sense. So it's less about like chasing the trends and more about building that foundation.
Yeah. And just experiment. Take some online courses, go to workshops, work on your own projects. Just like the more you try different things, the more prepared you'll be for whatever happens.
Okay, yeah. I'm starting to get it. But I got to admit, I'm still stuck on this converting skills to products or services thing. Can we talk about that more?
Oh, yeah, that's a really interesting one. What do you think about it? Like, what skills do you have? What are you good at?
Well, I've always been a pretty good writer, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I like helping people get their thoughts organized. So maybe something with like communication or writing.
There you go. You could totally offer that as a service. You could write blog posts, help people with their websites. You could even coach people on how to give better presentations.
Wow. Yeah. I never thought about it like that. So it's not just like what I do for my job. It's like something I could offer to people directly.
Exactly. And that's just one example. There's like endless possibilities. You could teach online courses, write ebooks, even build software tools. It's about like taking what you're good at and sharing it with the world.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. There's like a whole new way of thinking about things. But what about people who aren't really like entrepreneurial? Not everyone wants to be their own boss.
That's true. But even if you don't want to start a business, having that kind of mindset can be really helpful.
Like thinking outside the box and stuff.
Yeah. Being proactive, always thinking about how you can add value. That's the kind of person that every company wants.
So it's not about the actual business. It's about that like entrepreneurial spirit.
Got it.
It seems like this whole future of work thing is really more about a mindset than anything else.
I think so, yeah. It's about always learning, being adaptable. You got to be comfortable with things constantly changing. A lot of people are afraid of the unknown, but what if we like embraced it instead?
Embracing the unknown, huh? Okay. I like that. It's more exciting. But also kind of scary. What if, like, we make the wrong choice, pick the wrong path?
Well, here's the thing. Well, there's no such thing as a wrong path, really. It's all about the journey.
So even if we mess up, even if we, like, take a wrong turn, we're still learning something.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Every experience, every skill you pick up, every challenge, it all adds to your toolbox.
So those detours, those mistakes, those are actually valuable in the long run.
Totally. Sometimes the best discoveries come from those unexpected turns. Sometimes the path less traveled teaches you the most important stuff.
Like that. It's like it takes the pressure off a bit. We don't have to have it all figured out. We just got to be open to learning as we go.
Exactly. Embrace the unknown. Stay curious. Experiment. And don't be afraid to fail.
Oh, yeah, that old saying. Failure is a stepping stone and all that.
It's true, though. Like every successful person I can think of, they all had setbacks. They all messed up along the way.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's how we learn. So, okay, let's recap everything we've talked about. We need to build that agency thing, right? Master those liberal arts, embrace technology, but be smart about it and never stop learning.
You got it. And don't forget about those core human skills. Communication, collaboration, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Those are always going to be important no matter what.
Right. So it's like tech skills, 80 people skills, all built on top of those like fundamental thinking skills. That's a pretty good recipe for success, I think.
Totally. I mean, look, we're living in crazy times. Things are changing so fast. It's exciting, but also a little scary.
Yeah, definitely both. But you've given us a lot to think about, and I feel, I don't know, more prepared, more excited about the future, maybe.
That's great to hear. Remember, it's all about the journey, you know? Just keep learning, keep growing.
On that note, I think we should leave everyone with one last thought. Remember that whole skills to products or services thing? We want to challenge you to think about that. What's one skill you have that you could, like, package up and offer to the world? What would it be? Who would you help?
Think big. There's no limit to what you can do.
That's your homework. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.